how you guys doing? Welcome back to the 30-minute come up. Today we're gonna venture off into a segment called Where It Started. We're gonna occasionally have these segments where I dive into the humble beginnings of some well-known businesses and their founders and our co-founders, and we'll talk about that for a little bit just to keep you guys motivated to keep going, because like I said, everything is a process. You cannot skip the process. It may not seem that way in the beginning. You may feel like you need instant success, but it takes time. So the segment we're covering today and where it started is going to be about Netflix at a certain part of their journey around the time they came in contact with Amazon and Blockbuster. So as everybody know, Netflix pretty much put Blockbuster out of business, but that wasn't always the case. Back in, I believe, 2000, Blockbuster had a meeting with Netflix, and actually before that meeting, Netflix was trying for months to get in contact with Blockbuster to have a meeting. Netflix was not doing too good at the time. This is around the time the dot-com bubble burst, and a lot of dot-com companies were not doing too good. It was around the same time that I believe Amazon was switching over to their everything store. Because in the beginning, Amazon just sold books, and they was doing pretty good, but it was to the point where they needed to expand and, create a footprint in other locations. Around 2000, I believe, there was a few months that Netflix was trying to get in contact with Blockbuster because they actually wanted to sell to Blockbuster. 2 years before that, what a lot of people don't know is that Amazon tried to purchase Netflix. The crazy thing is, at the time Amazon tried to purchase Netflix were only a couple months old at that time. I believe it was only 2 or 3 months old at that time, and Netflix was just strictly DVD to mail service. So it was a subscription where you can order your DVD, they send it to you in the mail, you return it whenever, and that was their model. At the time, Reed Hastings and his co-founder is a guy named Randolph. I'm sorry, can't remember the name off the top of my head, but they decided to meet with Amazon and Jeff Bezos, and they was curious as to why Jeff Bezos and Amazon wanted to purchase them so early. Then they realized Amazon was switching over to the everything store, and Amazon was trying to get into the video market, so they wanted to acquire Netflix to do so. So on the plane ride back, Randolph talks about in his book that they decided, they talked about the pros and cons, and they politely declined Amazon's offer. I believe Amazon was offering them something in the low 8 figures, and they decided to decline because they felt like they had something special. And that was in 1998 when they met with Amazon. Now moving forward to 2 years later, 2000, they're trying to meet with Blockbuster in order to form a partnership or have Blockbuster acquire them. And I believe that year, Reed Hastings was stating that there was going to be in the hole maybe 50 million or losing 50 million that year. And the crazy thing is, for months they was trying to get in contact with Blockbuster to have a meeting. And finally, Blockbuster responded that they can have a meeting, but I believe the meeting was going to be the next day at 11 o'clock. So it kind of put their backs against the wall, because I guess there was in Blockbuster headquarters was in Dallas, Texas at the time, and I believe Netflix was out in California. So at that time, they had to try to figure out how they're going to make it to the meeting in time, and Reed Hastings came up with the plan to let's just charter a private jet there. But like I said, they were not doing too good at that time. They were already losing money. They was on track to lose 50 million that year, and it was going to cost $20,000 to charter a jet. So I believe Randolph was debating at the time, that it cost too much. We're already in the hole. But Reed Hastings, his logic was, we're already losing 50 million this year. We might as well. 20,000 not gonna hurt. We already in the hole 50 million. So they decided to go, and the way the meeting went, it shows you guys that everything happens for a reason. So during the meeting, they're trying to present Netflix as a major positive addition to Blockbuster's portfolio. Reed Hastings even suggested that Netflix can partner with Blockbuster and, pretty much run the mail and online services while Blockbuster stick to the stores. But at the time, Blockbuster's CEO did not believe that, the internet was going to continue to grow. Like I said, the dot-com had just crashed. A lot of people did not have faith in dot-com companies, so he felt like the direction Netflix was going in was not going to be beneficial to Blockbuster's portfolio. And they also asked Netflix what would they be willing to sell their company for. And Netflix told them $50 million. And apparently, Blockbuster took it as a joke. Blockbuster at the time did not believe Netflix would be worth that much. Blockbuster did not even counter offer. They didn't even offer a lower price to purchase the company. So Netflix, I'm pretty sure they probably felt like it was a slap in the face. Maybe Reed Hastings felt like, they don't think we can be beneficial to their business. So unfortunately, at that time, Blockbuster decided not to acquire Netflix. So Netflix had to go back to the drawing board. But it goes to show you that you cannot skip the process. Everything happens for a reason. 10 years later, in 2010, Blockbuster filed for bankruptcy. And 10 years later, in 2010, you can see where Netflix was at. And then 10 years later, again, you can see where Netflix is at now. I believe Netflix is one of the top 10 highest earning internet companies, I believe. But just look at how the tables have turned. And like I stated, Blockbuster had the chance to, acquire Netflix, but they decided not to, and now Blockbuster is filed for bankruptcy. I believe Blockbuster had one more store that closed down in 2014. But at the time, in 2000, Blockbuster may have been kind of arrogant. That's why they say never get arrogant. The year before Blockbuster met with Netflix, Blockbuster had a successful IPO. I believe they raised $450 million. So during that time, Blockbuster was doing pretty good. So they may have felt like they didn't even need Netflix. But that goes to show you, if you don't adapt, pay attention to the times, and properly adapt, you're gonna get left in the dirt. We know somebody that has a Netflix account. If you don't have a Netflix account yourself, you know somebody that has one, and you probably use they login information to create your own account. But that just goes to show you that you can never skip the process, and you may not be doing good right now. You may not be where you want to be right now, but you just keep pushing. Things are going to happen for a reason. Things are going to line up. Obviously, Netflix decided to stay consistent. Even though they was not able to form a partnership with Blockbuster, they stayed consistent. Imagine if they would have sold to Amazon in '98. There's no telling how things would have turned out. I hope you guys enjoy that. I will do more of these outside of the regular 30-minute come up podcast episodes that we have. I will have these segments that go on my podcast and my channel. And we will also have another segment called In the Know. So In the Know will pretty much cover business activities that's going on currently. Maybe two companies are battling it out in court right now, or whatever the case may be. We'll just keep you guys updated, just to you can constantly have information at your fingertips. Whether you're looking at the channel or listening to the podcast, you can pretty much get your mindset in the mode of business and learning and developing yourself. So thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this segment of where it started, and keep pushing forward.